Hell. So many versions to choose from. But with Dante Aligheri's description in the Divine Comedy, it ensures that this is not a place you want to visit. With flowing blood rivers, scorching sands, giant worm monsters using you as their chew toy, and all the visuals to guarantee you live a benevolent life. For who would risk their soul to sate a desire for your mortal body if you knew what was waiting below? Now, if you're a good person, you need not listen. But if you have self-doubt, stick around and see what happens if you do not repent in this episode of Tipplers 2 Cents.
With the blood of the malevolent one flowing through my veins, I lament. I have returned. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
Hello once again, drinkers and thinkers, and welcome to episode 18. Thank you for joining us. I am your host, Chris Walters, and with me is my co-host, co-creator, and captain of the Gumtastic Voyage, Sean Knox.
Yay! Papa Chris is back!
Yep, I'm sorry guys, I had to take a little step away. Got a new job at a bank as a mortgage loan processor, so it's a little bit daunting and a lot more of a learning curve than I expected. So, yeah, just getting tied up. I actually have to do some work this weekend as well, but I didn't want to be away for another episode. So, anyway, glad to be back. Let's get into it.
Oh, wait. I got one thing I got to update you with.
Uh-oh.
So, I am well aware that the last episode was not up to par as far as me trying to be funny and all that stuff. I tried my best, but it is super fucking hard without a co-host. And This is bad news for the show, but good news as far as Chris's ego is concerned, because our views fucking dropped dramatically for that last episode. and I don't blame you guys. You guys are so used to having two hosts and having us banter and make fun of each other when we can't fucking talk. So I completely understand, but he's back, and thank you so much for coming back, even though you just left me in the dirt.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm going to try to not have that happen very much. Obviously, some things are going to be out of my control, but for the most part, I should be here. Like I said, even though I'm working this weekend, I'm going to make it work. So, anyway, let's go ahead and share what we're drinking today. I'm finishing off my, kind of an old bottle now, but I'm finishing off my bottle of Tanqueray number 10. I'm mixing that with some Squirt, the soft drink, not not the other thing, but yeah, it's actually pretty good.
And
what are you drinking, Sean?
And what kind of co-host would I be without pissing off my other co-host? Because guess what the fuck I'm drinking, Chris?
Let me think.
I'm drinking Suntory Whiskey by Toki. But no,
that's all right. That's good stuff. Yeah, as far as a toast, Sean, I'm gonna toast you for carrying the weight of the podcast on your two mighty shoulders last week for us, or the last 2 weeks, sorry. Yeah, thank you for doing that, man. I'm sorry I had to leave you hanging, but, we're getting it together.
No, that's all right. Anytime, man.
But, all right. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
I made it a little strong. That's good. I'll get all wacky. All right. Let's get into one of the most descriptive pieces on hell to ever be written, Dante's Inferno. Inferno, which is stemming from the Italian word for hell, is the first part of Italian writer Dante Aligheri's 14th century epic poem, The Divine Comedy. It is followed by Purgatorio and Paradiso. The Inferno describes Dante's journey through hell, guided by the ancient Roman poet Virgil. In the poem, hell is depicted as 9 concentric circles of torment located within the earth. It is the realm of those who have rejected spiritual values by yielding to bestial appetites or violence, or by perverting their human intellect to fraud or malice against their fellow men. As an allegory, the Divine Comedy represents the journey of the soul toward God, with the Inferno describing the recognition and rejection of sin. The poem begins on the night of Maundy, Thursday, on March 24th, 1300 AD, shortly before dawn of Good Friday. The narrator, Dante himself, is a 35-year-old and thus midway in the journey of our life, half of the biblical lifespan of 70. I don't know why I said 70 so weird. I think the alcohol's hitting me already.
70.
70. He was 70. 70. The poet finds himself lost in a dark wood on the way to salvation. He sets out to climb directly up a small mountain, but his way is blocked by 3 beasts he cannot evade: a leopard, a lion, and a wolf. The three beasts, taken from Jeremiah 5:6, are thought to symbolize the 3 kinds of sin that are three kinds of sin that bring the unrepentant soul into one of the 3 major divisions of hell. These are fucking up already, man. It's very early on, and I'm already just blubbermouthed.
It's all right. Did you hear the first 5 seconds of the last episode? I stuttered and I was like, "Fucking already? Are you fucking kidding me?"
Anyway, these are incontinence represented by the wolf, violence, and bestiality.
Yep.
Bestiality for the lion, and fraud and malice for the leopard. It is now dawn of Good Friday, April 8th, with the sun rising in Aries. The beasts drive him back, despairing into the darkness of error, a lower place where the sun is silent. However, Dante is rescued by a figure who announces that he is born in the time of Julius Caesar and lived under Augustus. It is the shade of the Roman poet Virgil, author of the Aeneid.
Aeneid.
Aeneid, a Latin epic. On the evening of Good Friday, Dante hesitates as he follows Virgil. Virgil explains that he has been sent by Beatrice, the symbol of divine love. Beatrice had moved to aid Dante by the Virgin Mary and Saint Lucia. Rachel, symbolic of the contemplative life, also appears in the heavenly scene recounted by Virgil. The 2 of them then begin their journey to the underworld. Dante passes through the gates of hell, which bears an inscription ending with the famous phrase, oh god, I'm going to butcher this one. La siete agne speranza voi cientrate.
Okay, do it one more time, but with a Mario accent.
La siete agne speranza voi cientrate.
See, there you go.
Luigi. Most frequently, that is translated as "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," which I think everybody's probably heard of. Dante and his guide hear the anguished screams of the uncommitted. These are the souls of people who, in life, took no sides, the opportunists who were neither good nor evil, but instead were merely concerned with themselves. Among these, Dante recognizes a figure implied to be the Pope Celestine V, who cowardice served as the door through which so much evil entered the church. Mixed with them are outcasts who took no side in the rebellion of angels. These souls are forever unclassified. They are neither in hell nor out of it, but reside on the shores of, I don't know how to say that.
The Acheron. Yeah, Acheron.
Acheron?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically like purgatory. Naked and futile, they raced around through the mists in eternal pursuit of an elusive, wavering banner, while relentlessly chased by swarms of wasps and hornets who continually sting them. That sounds like that sucks. Loathsome maggots and worms at the sinner's feet drink the putrid mixture of blood, pus, and tears that flow down their bodies. This may also be seen as a reflection of the spiritual stagnation in which they lived. After passing through the vestibule, Dante and Virgil reach the ferry that will take them across the river Acheron and to hell proper. The ferry is piloted by Charon, who does not let Dante enter, for he is a living being. Virgil forces Charon to take him by declaring, "It is so willed there." Fuck me. It is so willed there. I'm still. I cannot say this. It is so willed there. Where is power to do that which is willed? Jesus, referring to the fact that Dante is on his journey on divine grounds. The wailing and blasphemy of the damned souls entering Charon's boat contrasts with the joyful singing of the blessed souls arriving by ferry in the Purgatorio. The passage across the Acheron, however, is undescribed since Dante faints and does not awaken until they reach the other side.
However, Dante wakes up to find that he has crossed the Acheron, and Virgil leads him to the first circle of the abyss, which is limbo, which is another word for purgatory, but, this shit's kind of a little bit convoluted, so whatever, where Virgil himself resides. So the first circle contains the unbaptized and the virtuous pagans who, although not sinful enough to warrant damnation, did not accept Christ. Limbo shares many characteristics with the asphodel meadows, and thus the guiltless damned are punished by living in a deficient form of heaven. Without baptism, they lack the hope for something greater than rational minds can conceive. When Dante asked if anyone has ever left limbo, Virgil states that he saw Jesus descend into limbo and take Adam, Abel, Noah, Moses, Abraham, David, and Rachel into his all-forgiving arms and transport them into heaven as the first human souls to be saved. The event, known as the harrowing of hell, would have occurred in AD 33 or 34. Dante encounters the poets Homer, Horace, Ovid, and Lucan, who include him in their number and make him the, quote, sixth in that high company. They reach the base of the great castle, the dwelling place of the wisest men of antiquity, surrounded by 7 gates and a flowing brook. After passing through the 7 gates, the group comes to an exquisite green meadow, and Dante encounters the inhabitants of the citadel. These include figures associated with the Trojans and their descendants, which are the Romans, Electra, the mother of Troy's founder, Dardanus, Hector, Aeneas, Julius Caesar in his role as the Roman general, and honestly a fuck ton of others, which I will not go into. Dante and Virgil depart from the 4 other poets to continue their journey. Although Dante implies that all virtuous non-Christians find themselves here, he later encounters 2, Cato of Utica and Statius, in purgatory, and 2, Trajan and Ripheus, in heaven. Dante and Virgil leave limbo and enter the second circle, the first of the circles of incontinence, where the punishments of hell proper begin. It is described as a part where no thing gleams. They find their way hindered by the serpentine Minos, who judges all those condemned for active, deliberately willed sin to one of the lower circles. Minos sentences each soul to its torment by wrapping his tail around himself a corresponding number of times. So it kind of seems like he just wraps a tentacle around himself like twice, and he's just like silently is just kind of like insinuating like gang signs, being like, it's like I don't know what that is, and then one of your fucking like I don't know Sherpas of hell is like he's signing, yeah, he's signing for hatred, but I don't know like that it has a lot of different things. I don't know why I wanted to immediately make Minos like a gang member, but it's fine.
It's like what it sounded like. He's just like, what's up? You want some of this?
They're like, no, I'll go down. So Virgil rebukes Minos, and he and Dante continue on. So Virgil apparently has just the power of fucking the silver tongue, and he can just talk shit to anybody in hell, and they're just like, all right, fam.
I know.
Fuck it.
Yeah, they're like, Dante's not allowed on the boat. They're like, nah, he kind of is. Like, all right, fine.
Yeah, Virgil's just like, do you want me to fucking call God, bro? I will. And they're like, fine, it's fine. So in the second circle of hell are those overcome by lust. Ooh. These carnal malefactors are condemned for allowing their appetites to sway their reason. These souls are buffeted back and forth by the terrible winds of a violent storm without rest. This symbolizes the power of lust to blow needlessly and namelessly. Yeah, tell me about it. As the lovers drifted into self-indulgence and were carried away by their passions, so now they drift forever. The bright, voluptuous sin is now seen as it is, a howling darkness of helpless discomfort. Since lust involves mutual indulgence and is not therefore completely self-centered, Dante deems it the least heinous of the sins and is its punishment is the most benign within hell proper. That's fair. The ruined slope in this circle is thought to be a reference to the earthquake that occurred after the death of Christ. Apparently there's like in the circle, like, it's kind of hard to describe, but like, we'll talk about this, but like later, whenever we go into Tipplers Take Two in the video game, it does kind of show you there's parts of hell that are fucked up, and like they do fucking, when I talk about that game later, they do a great job of visualizing it. But yeah, there's a part of hell that's fucked up in a couple of areas after the death of Christ happened. So that's what he's referencing right here. Dante sees Semiramis, Dido, Cleopatra, Helen of Troy, Paris, Achilles, Tristan, and many others who are overcome by sexual love during their life. Due to the presence of so many rulers among the lustful, the fifth canto of Inferno has been called the Canto of the Queens. Dante comes across Francesca da Rimini, who married the deformed Giovanni Malatesta, also known as Gianciotto, for political purposes, but fell in love with his younger brother, Paolo Malatesta. The two began to carry on an adulterous affair. Sometime between 1283 and 1286, Giovanni surprised them together in Francesca's bedroom and violently stabbed them both to death. Francesca explains love, which is the gentlest hearts will soonest bloom, seized my lover with passion from that sweet body from which I was torn unshriven to my doom. Love which permits no loved one not to love, took me so strongly with delight in him that we are one in hell, as we were above. So she's kind of just saying that, like, they're together forever, which is super fucked up. And she obviously hasn't learned her lesson, but later on, they do kind of say that you're stuck in that state of mind, whatever circle you're in. So if you're wrathful, you're eternally in that state of mind. So it makes sense that she thinks that it's kind of worth it.
All right. I also just wanted to point out, like, I fucking love the way all this stuff talks. Like, that part right there. It's like, it's so, like, eloquent, but just, like, for a random moment, when it said that sweet body, I was just like, I couldn't help but laugh, because of the way we talk nowadays.
Oh, that sweet body.
So it's like, love, which in gentlest hearts will soonest bloom, seized my lover with passion for that sweet body from which I was torn unshriven to my doom. Like, whoa, what? All right. Anyway, love led us to one death. In the depths of hell, Cain awaits for him who took our lives. This was the pietous tale they stopped to tell.
Sorry, I split the quote by accident, so that's why the rest of the quote was love led us to one death. In the depths of hell, Cain awaits for him who took our lives. Sorry about that.
I see that now. That's why that didn't make so much sense. Francesca further reports that she and Paolo yielded to their love when reading the story of the adultery between Lancelot and Guinevere of the old French romance Lancelot du Lac. Francesca says, what the fuck?
Mario voice.
Oh, boy. I gotta read all the Italian stuff. Come on. Galileo fu libro e ci lo scrisse. There's probably so many Italian people that are like, hey, fuck you, man. We don't all talk like that. The word Galeotto means pander, but is also the Italian term for Galahad.
Yeah, Galahad.
Who acted as an intermediary between Lancelot and Guinevere, encouraging them onto love. John Ciardi renders line 137 as that book, and he who wrote it was a wow, Jesus Christ, the way they talk. That book, and he who wrote it was a pander. As he did on his journey across the Acheron, Dante, overcome by pity and anguish, describes his swoon. I fainted as if I had met my death, and then I fell as dead as body falls. Jesus Christ. And then I fell as a dead body falls. In the third circle, the gluttonous wallow in a vile, putrid slush produced by a ceaseless, foul, icy rain, a great storm of putrefaction, as punishment for subjecting their reason to a voracious appetite. Cerberus, described as, Il Gran Vermo.
There you
go. Literally the great worm. The monstrous three-headed beast of hell ravenously guards the gluttons lying in the freezing mire, mauling and flaying them with his claws as they howl like dogs. And yeah, a lot of people should know Cerberus. He's kind of like a good like Greek figure. It's like the three-headed dog that guards the gates of hell.
Yeah, it's just in the like Catholic Dante's Inferno version that he's really, really monstrous. Almost any other version, he's just a three-headed dog, but this one he's a fucking three-headed crabworm thing.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
Virgil obtains safe passage past the monster by filling its 3 mouths with mud. And who would have known it would be that easy?
Right.
Dorothy L. Sayers writes that the surrender to sin, which began with mutual indulgence, leads by an imperceptible degradation to solitary self-indulgence. Jesus. The gluttons grovel in the mud by themselves, sightless and heedless of their neighbors, symbolizing the cold, selfish, and empty sensuality of their lives. Just as the lust has revealed its true nature in the winds of the previous circle, here the slush reveals the true nature of sensuality, which includes not only overindulgence in food and drink, but also other kinds of addiction. And I like that. I like that symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th circle is guarded by a figure Dante names as Pluto. This is Plutus, the deity of wealth in classical mythology. Although the two are often conflated, he is a distinct figure from Pluto or Dis, the classic ruler of the underworld. Plutus menaces Virgil and Dante with the cryptic phrase, Pape Satan alepe, but Virgil protects Dante from him. Those whose attitude toward him, material goods deviated from the appropriate mean, are punished in the 4th circle. They include the avaricious or miserly, including many clergymen and popes and cardinals who hoarded possessions, and the prodigal who squandered them. The hoarders and why is there so many bad words in here? Not bad words, but hard words to say. I'm like, bad words, my brain's going stupid. The hoarders and spendthrifts joust, using great weights as weapons that they push with their chests. Here, too, I saw a nation of lost souls far more than they were above. They strained their chests against enormous weights, and with mad howls rolled them at one another. Then in haste they rolled them back, one party shouting, "Why do you hoard?" and the other, "Why do you waste?" Both groups are so absorbed in their activity that Virgil tells Dante that it would be pointless to try to speak to them. Indeed, they have lost their individuality and have been rendered unrecognizable. So again, like you were saying, like anybody who gets trapped in like whatever like realm of hell that they get trapped in, they kind of like get succumbed to like whatever sin they're charged with.
Yeah, and their whole soul gets overwhelmed with that single identity, which is kind of fucked up. Like imagine, like I always thought that like the thing with me with like hell and being punished and stuff, which still kind of bugs me to this day, even though I'm an atheist. It's one of those things that like I always thought I'd be aware of what was happening, but these people are obviously aware, but it's one of those things that like you never really would have thought that your entire mental faculty would, break down to the point where you're just overwhelmed with that aspect of your personality. You know what I mean? Like I always thought like if you were like burning in hell, you would think of your loved ones and like, shit that you missed out on and stuff like that, which is enough torture in itself, but like losing who you are as a person, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Anyway, continuing on, in the swampy, stinking waters of the river Styx, the 5th circle, the actively wrathful fight each other viciously on the surface of the slime, while the sullen, the passively wrathful, lie beneath the water, withdrawn into a black sulkiness which can find no joy in God or man or the universe. So basically they're just fucking floating in a river, just unexperiencing any kind of happy emotion.
How
at the surface of...
Sorry, how appropriate is that you're just fucking floating, just motherfucker?
Yeah. Just passively wrathful, just like, God damn, I fucking hate everything right now. I can't even do anything about it. At the surface of the foul Stygian marsh, Dorothy L. Sayers writes, the active hatreds rend and snarl at one another. At the bottom, the sullen hatreds lie gurgling, unable to even express themselves for the rage that chokes them. As the last circle of incontinence, the savage self-frustration of the 5th circle marks the end of, quotations, that which had its tender and romantic beginnings in the dalliance of indulged passion.
Phlegyas.
I don't know how to... Phlegyas? Yeah.
Yeah.
Phlegyas reluctantly transports Dante and Virgil across the Styx in his skiff, which is a boat. On the way, they are accosted by Filippo Argenti, a black Guelph from the prominent Adimari family. Little is known about Argenti, although Giovanni Boccaccio describes an Boccaccio, okay. Describes an incident Boccaccio.
Yeah.
He describes an incident in which he lost his temper. Early commenters state that Argenti's brother seized some of Dante's property after his exile from Florence. Just as Argenti enabled the seizing of Dante's property, he himself is property. It's all the damn Italian words. Sorry. Just as Argenti enabled the seizing of Dante's property, he himself is seized by all the other wrathful souls. When Dante responds, quotes, "In weeping and in grieving, accursed spirit, may you long remain." Virgil blesses him with words used to describe Christ himself. That's some dope shit. Literally, this reflects the fact that souls in hell are eternally fixed on the state that they have chosen, but allegorically, it reflects Dante's beginning awareness of his own sin.
Sorry. I just need to point out that I'm loving you fucking stumbling on your words.
Yeah, it's all the damn Italian stuff throwing me off.
You gotta speak in the Mario voice, bro.
And then the big words, too. A lot of big words.
Yeah, fucking earlier, what's the name? Giovanni Boccaccio. See? You just break it, so just like little is known about Argenti, although Giovanni Boccaccio describes an incident.
Should have just done that episode in the in that voice the whole time. The whole thing.
Just fucking straight up like piss off our whole Italian audience.
Yeah, they're like, okay, that's it. I give up on a Tipplers 2 Cents.
Anyway.
Hey, we love you if you're Italian.
Fuck yeah. You gave me the best video game of my life. No, anyway, in the distance, Dante perceives high towers that resemble fiery red mosques. Virgil informs him that they are approaching the city of Dis. Dis itself, surrounded by the Stygian marsh, contains lower hell within its walls. Dis is one of the names of Pluto, the classical king of the underworld, which Chris mentioned earlier is often confused with Plutus, in addition to being the name of the realm. The walls of Dis are guarded by fallen angels, and Virgil is unable to convince them to let Dante and him enter. An angel sent from heaven actually secures entry for the poets, opening the gate by touching it with a wand. Fucking okay. And rebukes those who oppose Dante. Allegorically, this reveals the fact that the poem is beginning to deal with sins that philosophy and humanism cannot fully understand. Which, that kind of stuck out to me just because philosophy and humanism cannot fully understand. That kind of references like there's sins that we commit that we're not even aware that we commit. Which is kind of fucking unfair. I'm just saying, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, this leads into the sixth circle, which is heretics, such as Epicurus and his followers, who say the soul dies with the body, are trapped in flaming tombs, which, guess where your boy's going? That's pretty much it on the sixth circle. It's just heretics. And the seventh circle, divided into three rings, the houses of the violent. Dante and Virgil descend a jumble of rocks that had once formed a cliff to reach the seventh circle from the sixth circle, having first to evade the Minotaur at the sight of them. The Minotaur gnaws his flesh. Virgil assures the monster that Dante is not its hated enemy, Dante is not its hated enemy, Theseus, and this causes the Minotaur to charge them as Dante and Virgil swiftly enter the seventh circle. And I love how, like, random that kind of is, but at the same time, it's hell, so it makes sense that there's just a fucking Minotaur, but Virgil being like a heavenly, representative is just kind of like, hey, look, he's not Theseus. Can you just please leave us alone? Minotaur's like, no, I'm in fucking hell. I'm gonna charge you.
He's like, I'm a Minotaur, dude. And you're like, that's fair.
That's fair. I'm gonna jaunt all over here.
We're gonna skedaddle to the seventh realm if you don't mind.
So Virgil explains the presence of shattered stones around him. They resulted from the great earthquake that shook the earth at the moment of Christ's death, like we mentioned in the second circle, at the time of the harrowing of hell. Ruins resulting from the same shock that were previously seen, earlier. So the first ring within the seventh circle is violence against neighbors. In the first round of the seventh circle, the murderers, war makers, plunderers, and tyrants are immersed in the Phlegethon, a river of boiling blood and fire, which is fucking metal as shit. Ciardi writes, as they wallowed in blood during their lives, so they are immersed in the boiling blood forever, each according to the degree of his guilt. Holy fuck. That is like perfect poetic justice. So like the more guilt you feel, or the less guilt you feel rather, the hotter the fucking blood boils to burn you. That's so fucked up. So like, and that's pretty fair in the realm of hell, at least. Like, you're not repentant, but you are, guiltful. You get less fucked up. So, and also, the centaurs, which there's fucking centaurs in hell, who would have thought, commanded by Chiron and Pholus, patrol the ring, shooting arrows into any fucking sinners who emerge higher out of the boiling blood than each is allowed. So if you they're like lifeguards. If you go under, or if you go up, they just fucking be like, hey! And pop you with one. And the second ring, which is violence against the self, pretty self-explanatory. The second round of the seventh circle is the wood of the suicides, in which the souls of the people who attempted or committed suicides are transformed into gnarled, thorny trees and then fed upon by harpies. Jesus. Hideous claws, birds with the faces of women. The trees are only permitted to speak when broken and bleeding. And the third ring, which is violence against God, art, and nature, the third round of the seventh circle is a great plain of burning sand scorched by great flakes of flame falling slowly from the sky, an image derived from the fate of Sodom and Gomorrah. The blasphemers are stretched supine across the burning sand. The sodomites run in circles while the usurers crouch huddled and weeping. That's... how fucked up is that? There's just... and it's kind of weird just to put these three in the same realm. It kind of like gives you that introspection into like how there's like just kind of multiple dimensions within hell, where it's just kind of like it's just the woods, and then all of a sudden, if you fucking go a little bit farther, it's just fucking eternal desert.
Yeah.
But
Dante now finds himself in the eighth circle called, and I'm gonna say it's Malbolgia.
Yep.
Which translates to evil ditches, the upper half of the hell of the fraudulent and malicious. The eighth circle is a large funnel of stone shaped like an amphitheater, around which run a series of 10 deep, narrow concentric ditches or trenches called bolgia. Within these ditches are punished those guilty of simple fraud. From the foot of the great cliff to the well, which forms the neck of the funnel, are large spurs of rock like umbrella ribs or spokes, which serve as bridges across the 10 ditches. So, Malbolgia 1 are panderers and seducers. These sinners make 2 files, one along either bank of the ditch, and march quickly in opposite directions while being whipped by horned demons for eternity. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you were like a kinky guy and you're into whipping and shit?
Well, then they'd be in lust. So, I mean, it kind of...
that's true.
Panderers and seducers, like, it's more like the... I don't know. Like, that's kind of weird. Seducers, how would you even phrase that, like, in real life?
I guess just somebody who, like maybe a girl who, like, seduced a guy who was married or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because most of the shit has to do with kind of, like, business and, like, professionalism and shit like that.
Yeah, I was like, could have been a dude, too. Not discriminated. Anyway, Bolgia 2 is flatterers. These also exploited other people, this time abusing and corrupting language to play upon others' desires and fears. They are steeped in excrement. So basically, talk shit, well, you get buried in shit. Bolgia 3 is for simoniacs.
Nope.
Jesus. Simoniacs.
Yep.
Fuck. Took my mouth a little bit of a stumble there to say that. These sinners are placed head downwards in round, tube-like holes within the rock, with flames burning the soles of their feet. Huh. Bolgia 4 is for sorcerers. In the middle of the bridge of the fourth Bolgia, Dante looks down at the souls of fortune tellers, diviners, astrologers, and other false prophets. The punishment of those who attempted to usurp God's prerogative by prying into the future is to have their heads twisted around on their bodies. In this horrible contortion of the human form, these sinners are compelled to walk backwards for eternity, blinded by their own tears. That one sounds awful.
Yeah. So don't pretend to know the fucking future, all right? No one's a goddamn clairvoyant, okay?
Bolgia 5 is for berators, corrupt politicians who made money by trafficking in public offices. They are immersed in a lake of boiling pitch, which represents the sticky fingers and dark secrets of their corrupt deals. Bolgia 6 is for hypocrites. Here they find the hypocrites listily walking around in a narrow track for eternity, weighted down by leaden robes. Which, that one doesn't sound too horrible, but I mean, at the same time, like, I guess it's like just constant pressure weighing down on you while you have to walk around. So I could see how that'd be torturous, but... Bolgia 7 is for thieves. The pit is filled with monstrous reptiles. The shades of thieves are pursued and bitten by snakes and lizards who curl themselves about the sinners and bind their hands behind their backs. And that one's strange.
Yeah.
Bolgia 8, counselors of fraud. Here, fraudulent advisors and or evil counselors move about, hidden from view inside individual flames. These are not people who gave false advice, but people who use their position to advise others to engage in fraud.
Yeah, so they're like eternally burning, but you can't see them within the flames because they were hidden in life.
Yeah, I was going to say that one's kind of interesting because it's like on the outside you can't tell they're being tortured, which is kind of weird. Bolgia 9 is for sowers of discord. In the 9th Bolgia, the sowers of discord are hacked and mutilated for all eternity by a large demon wielding a bloody sword. Their bodies are divided as, in life, their sin was to tear apart what God had intended to be united. So yeah, just basically getting fucking torn apart for all of eternity. That sucks. Bolgia 10 is for falsifiers. The final Bolgia in the 8th circle is home to various sorts of falsifiers. A disease on society. They are themselves afflicted with different types of afflictions. Horrible diseases, stench, thirst, filth, darkness, and screaming. Some lie prostrate while others run hungering through the pit, tearing others to pieces. So that one just sounds fucking awful. Just weird, disgusting, stinky people running around fucking killing each other.
Yeah, it kind of seems like falsifiers. That seems like it's just lying in general. You know how fucked up that is? For I'd lie almost every fucking day, and
I think everybody does.
To get punished, to just be like, you know what, you're either gonna fucking just lay there, or you're gonna go and just fuck other people up or get fucked up forever. Anyway, at the base of the well, Dante finds himself within a large frozen lake, Coctis, the 9th circle of hell. Trapped in ice, each according to his guilt, are punished sinners guilty of treachery against those with whom they had special relationships. The lake of ice is divided into 4 concentric rings, or quote rounds, of traitors corresponding in order of seriousness to betrayal of family ties, betrayal of family ties, betrayal of community ties, betrayal of guests, and betrayal of lords. This is in contrast to the popular image of hell as fiery, as Ciardi writes, the treacheries of these souls were denials of love, which is God, and of all human warmth. Excuse me. Only the remorseless dead center of the ice will serve to express their natures. As they denied God's love, so they are furthest removed from the light and warmth of his sun. As they denied all human ties, so they are bound only by the unyielding ice. This final deepest level of hell is reserved for traitors, betrayers, and oath breakers, and its most famous inmate is Judas Iscariot, the man who betrayed Jesus Christ for
that's interesting.
For 30 pieces of silver. So round 1, which is Cana, this round is named after Cain, who killed his own brother in the first act of murder. Cain and Abel. This round houses the traitors to their kindred. They have their necks and heads out of the ice and are allowed to bow their heads, allowing some protection from the freezing winds. So that's kind of nice. They get to kind of be like, it's cold, I'm going to tuck my head in a little bit. Round 2, which is Antenora. The second round is named after Antenor, a Trojan soldier who betrayed his city to the Greeks. Here lie the traitors to their country. Those who committed treason against political entities, parties, cities, or countries have their heads above the ice, but they cannot bend their necks. It's kind of weird that, like, who in hell obeys rules?
I know, it's like, I don't know, it's weird.
I mean, I guess they like, there's probably some like magic or something, allowing them or disallowing them to do shit. But so round 3 is, oh no, it's my turn. The P is probably silent, right?
Ptolemaea?
No, Ptolemaea? Yeah, probably Ptolemaea.
Yeah, maybe it's Ptolemaea, yeah.
Ptolemaea, the third region of Coctis, is named after Ptolemy, who invited his father-in-law Simon Maccabeus and his sons to... Oh, it's from Maccabees, okay. And his sons to a banquet and then killed them. Traitors to their guests lie supine on the ice while their tears freeze in their eye sockets, sealing them with small visors of crystal. Even the comfort of fucking weeping is denied them. And round 4 is Judeca, the fourth division of Coctis, named for Judas Iscariot, contains the traitors of their lords and benefactors. Upon entry into this round, Virgil says, Vixilla regis produnt... hold on. Vixilla regis produnta inferni. Otherwise known as the banners of the king of hell draw closer. Judeca is completely silent. All the sinners are fully encapsulated in ice, distorted and twisted in every conceivable position. So they're just frozen forever and just fucking bent out of shit. And of course, in the very center of hell, condemned for committing the ultimate sin, which is personal treachery against God, is the devil, referred to by Virgil as Dis, the Roman god of the underworld. The name Dis was often used for Pluto in antiquity, such as Virgil's Aeneid, or Aeneid, whatever. The arch-traitor, Lucifer, was once held by God to be the fairest of the angels before his pride led him to rebel against God, resulting in his expulsion from heaven. Lucifer is a giant, terrifying beast, waist deep in the ice, forever fixed and suffering. So, you want to go to this version of hell, Chris?
No, it sounds super fucking complicated and horrible, and like I don't think they ran out of ways to torture people, that's for sure.
I know, it kind of seems like if you do go to hell, like when Minos makes his fucking gang sign to tell you wherever the fuck you're going, you're just going to have a really hard time finding out where you need to go. It's like going to a fucking Hilton, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like, oh yeah, go up the elevator to floor 3, and then go down the hall to the right, take 3 lefts, 6 rights, and then it's going to be room 6,324. And you're like, oh, fuck.
And you're looking for Bolgia 5. You're like, oh, fuck, okay.
And you're looking for Bolgia 5. You'll know it with, all the fucking lizards and shit in it. You're like, what? That would be even worse. Like, that was like part of your punishment. You had to find your own, like, it's kind of like picking your own switch. You had to find your own fucking, your own
Takes
punishment.
you like an eternity just to find out where you're going. You're like, ah, fuck, dude, I've been looking forever. I've been through all the other rings.
And every demon, like, if you ask for directions, like, they're not assholes, but they're just like, oh, fuck. Yeah, let me get my supervisor real quick and have him, and it's just...
He's like, dude, I'm a minotaur. I don't... I don't even know. Like, I'm just mad, and I want to find that fucking one guy, like Theseus or whatever the fuck.
Do you like? Are you fully aware that I have no actual fucking idea what geography is? I'm a half bull man. Look at me. I'm a half bull man. Oh shit. Oh, god damn it. So yeah, this place is just fucked, and it's still an amazing fucking piece of poetry. Obviously, it's not the entire piece of poetry, because the full piece is the Divine Comedy, and Inferno is just kind of a small part of it. But yeah.
So obviously, a lot of paraphrasing, because telling the entire tale of the Divine Comedy would take forever. But what we've given you is just more about the visuals. However, that was Dante's Inferno. Now we're going to move on to some other versions of hell, but not before something very important. It's time for... Tipplers Tidbit! This Tipplers Tidbit is sponsored by Afterlife Insurance. Are you afraid that when you die, you'll go to a bad place of your specified religion? Well, worry no more. With Afterlife Insurance, you can make a monthly payment of 30 silver coins a month to make absolutely sure that your paradise is secured. If you purchase the Pearly Gates package, you'll also be able to spend eternity in the VIP section of Eternal Bliss. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have sponsors, however. If you're interested in promoting your business, remember you can always reach out to us at Tipplers 2 Cents podcast@gmail.com. Or, just shoot us a message on Facebook. That'll work too. Now, on with Tippler's Tidbit. Today's Tippler's Tidbit is this. Back before he was president, Abraham Lincoln was a lawyer. And before that, he was a vampire slayer. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's not true. He was a lawyer. And before he was a lawyer, he was something else entirely, a bartender. Holders of the nation's highest office have often had a closer relationship with booze, as George Washington established with the nation's largest whiskey distillery in 1797, and Thomas Jefferson brewed his own beer, which is pretty cool. Andrew Jackson's inaugural party in 1829 was so legendary that we still drink the orange punch partygoers consumed. But Lincoln was the only president who was also a licensed bartender. Lincoln was co-owner of Berry and Lincoln, a store/drinking establishment in New Salem, Illinois, where he lived from 1831 to 1837. How fucking rad would that be if you just walked into a bar and fucking Abraham Lincoln is serving you a drink? Anyway, this has been your Tippler's Tidbit.
Tipplers Tidbit.
To start off with the line of hellscapes, we're going to lead with Hades and Tartarus. The primordial living darkness isn't well described because it's essentially a living oblivion. Honestly, this leaves a lot to the imagination because being put in a darkness eternal and being aware of it would drive you mad within seconds. And that's been proven quite often enough if you look up like those sensory deprivation chambers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. That stuff's awesome. Seems that people mix up Hades with Tartarus, whereas it's more of a separate entity below Hades that's reserved for the worst of the worst in Greek mythology. As for the place, Hesiod asserts that a bronze anvil falling from heaven would fall 9 days before it reaches the earth. The anvil would take 9 more days to fall from earth to Tartarus. In the Iliad, Zeus asserts that Tartarus is, quote, as far beneath Hades as heaven is from above the earth. Similarly, the mythographer Apollodorus describes Tartarus as a gloomy place and Hades as far distant from earth as earth is distant from the sky. While according to Greek mythology, the realm of Hades is a place of the dead, Tartarus also has a number of inhabitants. While Kronos came to power as the king of the Titans, he imprisoned the one-eyed Cyclopses and the 100-armed Hecatoncheires in Tartarus and set the monster Campe as its guard. Zeus killed Campe and released these imprisoned giants to aid in his conflict with the Titans. The gods of Olympus eventually triumphed. Kronos and many of the other Titans were banished to Tartarus, though Prometheus, Epimetheus, and female Titans such as Metis were spared according to Pindar. Kronos somehow later earned Zeus's forgiveness and was released from Tartarus to become ruler of Elysium. Another Titan, Atlas, was sentenced to hold the sky on his shoulders to prevent it from resuming its primordial embrace with the earth. Other gods could be sentenced to Tartarus as well. Apollo is a prime example, although Zeus freed him. The Hecatoncheires became guard of Tartarus' prisoners. Later, when Zeus overcame the monster Typhon, he threw him into wide Tartarus.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. It's kind of weird just describing Tartarus in general, just because it really is that. Like we mentioned in an earlier episode about Greek mythology, that there really isn't any prime example or like a description of it. And I said earlier, we'll kind of get into the visuals of these places a little bit more in another segment. But like Hades, it's pretty like self-explanatory. It's literally just the underworld. Fucking watch, what's it called? Hercules once, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay. And, you know, and like a lot of these places, kind of like just like Hades and Hell in Norse mythology, these places are often just named after the gods that reside within them. And I didn't put a lot of details on Hades. I think Tartarus is a lot more of like the ultimate punishment for this kind of shit. But yeah, Hades is kind of where dead souls go, and Tartarus seems more for punishment. But what are your thoughts on it?
Well, and like it kind of sounds like, and I mean, it doesn't outright say this, but it almost sounds like another realm of like limbo or purgatory, like kind of just like a holding place for shitty people or whoever gets sent there, basically, because it doesn't outright describe it really. It just kind of says it's another realm, kind of like Hades, but for worse people. So I would imagine the worst kind of hell, honestly, could be like purgatory. And I mean, it describes it as being like complete blackness or whatever, I think, from what it said.
Yeah.
So yeah, just basically purgatory. And like I said, for me, that would be like probably the ultimate hell, is just being in complete darkness and fucking, I don't know, that would suck.
Yeah, and being aware of it. That would fuck. And that's why earlier when it says that, it's a living darkness, it really is. It's given birth to a lot of... Tartarus has given birth to a lot of entities. We haven't mentioned that in this particular one. But I can't remember. It gave birth to like some monster. So it is technically a primordial god in Greek mythology. So just kind of imagine like you're in eternal darkness, and just every now and again you just hear like... and you're like, what the fuck? But yeah, I mean, fuck that. I would not want to go to Tartarus. But honestly, I prefer fucking Tartarus over Dante's Inferno. Like, 100%. Anyway, the next one is, excuse me, this is going to piss off a lot of our Jewish listeners. Gehinnom. If you guys know the actual pronunciation, please send it to me, because I'm too lazy to look it up. Anyway, as with their view of heaven, Jews have an ambiguous version of hell. The Hebrew Bible makes little mention of it, except as a place where spirits of the dead reside, which is Sheol. There is, however, the term Gehinnom, which refers to a valley in which children were reportedly sacrificed to the god Moloch. Eventually, this valley became a refuse dump that was just constantly burning, which provided a powerful metaphor for a place to send sinners. In later Judaism, hell is a place of punishment for unbelievers, but according to rabbinical texts, they will probably say that there is no more than a year. You'll probably stay there no more than a year, so that's not that bad. I remember like their version of heaven isn't very detailed, and that's what a lot of these are. Like a lot of their, except for like Catholicism and stuff. I couldn't really find a lot on like Judaism or Jewish beliefs as far as heaven and hell goes, but just the fact that there's a valley that's constantly burning, I was like, okay, that fits. But then when you figure out that, yeah, but you're not going to stay there more than a year, like, not to be stereotypical, but it's just like, that's a very Jewish thing to think. Yeah, you'll go to hell, but you only stay there for like a fucking year, all right? I don't know why I went fucking New York with that, but whatever.
I was like, that was a little like Jersey. Like, yeah, you'll be there for like a fucking year or something. I don't know, and then they'll kick you out.
Yeah, like, why do you sound like that? Oh, my father was a rabbi, but my mom's from fucking South Jersey.
Yeah, but I'm from fucking Jersey. No, I was gonna say, even though like I wouldn't say I'm a traditional Christian, but I hold more like Christian related beliefs. I kind of find a lot of like Jewish culture interesting and stuff, and I would like to learn more about them. Like, I don't know, more about like what they believe in and stuff. Just to be well-rounded in religion and stuff like that.
Yeah. So another one, which actually I think that you'll really like this one, because I thought this was fucking cool as shit, is it's called the Chinvat Bridge. It's from Zoroastrianism or Mazdayasana. Yeah, fuck it. Mazdayasana is one of the world's oldest continuously practiced religions. It's a multifaceted faith centered on dualistic cosmology of good and evil, of course, and has a eschatology. Eschatology. Fuck it. Predicting the ultimate conquest of evil with theological elements of henotheism, monotheism, and monism, and polytheism. So it kind of seems like there's multiple gods. There's a main god, like it's old as shit. With possible roots dating back to the 2nd millennium BCE, Zoroastrianism entered recorded history in the 5th century BCE. It served as a state religion of the ancient Iranian empires for more than a millennium, from around 600 BCE to 650 CE. So it's fucking old.
Yeah.
In this religion, there is the Chinvat Bridge, or otherwise known as the Bridge of Separation. It's also known that it is one that all people must walk after they die. For the righteous, it broadens and leads to a beautiful maiden. But for the less than righteous, it turns on its fucking side and becomes like a razor.
All right.
The ancient god Mithra is there with a scale to balance the good and evil deeds done during one's lifetime, and if evil deeds prevail, then the soul is tormented by an old hag before it falls off the bridge into hell. The torments of the evil go well beyond Dante's imagination and focus on punishment directly related to their evil deeds. Zoroastrian hell may be the most horrific of all, and a text called The Vision of Arda Viraf describes it in all its gory glory. Fortunately, everyone eventually leaves Zoroastrian hell. They are purified, enjoying the righteous in the reign of the god Ahura Mazda. So it's very similar to Gehinnom as far as like it's temporary, but the fact that like how it's directly related to like Dante's imagination, where you get what you got, like you get what you dealt out, essentially.
Yeah, and I honestly, I like that. I like that idea better than like how I was saying. I kind of hold like Christian ideals. I like that idea better than the more basic Christian version of hell, where it's like a lifetime of sin. Basically sends you to an eternity of hell, and like that's not fair. You know what I mean? That's not really fair. I don't even think anything you could do in your lifetime should warrant spending eternity in hell. So I feel like that's fair. You go there, you pay your dues, and you get out, and you get to go your way. It's kind of like prison.
Yeah, I kind of see because that's kind of how I see it. Just as I tried my best to be a good person, but I've done shit in my life it's well fucking warranted me going to hell. And yeah, I just don't, how you were saying, I don't think it ever warrants an eternity, because if it's an I don't know, like it's just the time is relative kind of shit. If it's eternal, why the fuck does a blip in eternity warrant me being punished for eternity? Why don't, it's tit for tat, just fucking the same amount of time, well, not necessarily the same amount of time, but yeah, the same amount of time that I've been an asshole, I deal with, the punishment for that same specified amount of time, or, get the exact kind of thing happen to me, fucking, like, I didn't do this, but, like, if I happen to, like, or if someone happened to, like, what the fuck was it, like, steal from it, you get, like, in a weird, like, mental state, like, if they use, like, magic or some shit to, like, wipe your mind, and then you just get stolen from, and you get to experience what whoever you stole from experienced, that kind of shit, you know what I mean? Like, exactly tit for tat. I think that would be an exact punishment. So, the Zoroastrian hell, fucking A+. I know you're old, and I don't need to give you an A+ for a fucking very obscure podcast, but...
So before I keep going, I'm going to take a shot real quick. I don't know if you want to join me in taking a shot.
I'm out. I just drank the rest of my whiskey, bro.
You're out? All right.
Oh, wait, no, there's a sip. There's a little sip. I'm just holding. Yeah, I'm good. Oh, man. So what are you guys doing? Are you guys going to hell or are you going to heaven? All right.
I will just say that I've heard some criticism that, maybe we don't drink enough on the show, so I'm going to do it a little extra on this one. Just a little, good faith measure.
Okay. Let's go.
A second cheers.
Cheers.
Woo. Holy shit, that is... Whoa. That was a lot stronger straight than it was in my drink. Oh, fuck.
And by the way, guys, it's not that we don't drink enough. We have to be able to fucking read, okay?
Yeah, you already hear how much we fumble over our words. It's going to be even harder if we get super drunk.
I think that's why it was so bad last episode when I was doing it by myself, because I had to take shots. I was trying to like amp it up because it was just me, so I was taking shots of vodka, and like I would have to like take a shot and take a drink and then try to talk, and fucking I was just like, and the CIA is fucking like, yeah, it was bad. Anyway, let's continue on.
All right. Yeah. So the next version of hell we're going to talk about is the one from Islam. I'm going to be careful talking about this one a little bit. The Quran, the sacred text of Islam, usually speaks of heaven and hell in the same passage, perhaps in order to provide a dramatic contrast. Hell is often described as an evil resting place and the fire. But fire is just the beginning of the torment in hell, because the fire is like a wall enclosing the wicked, and when they cry out, they are showered with water as hot as molten brass, which scalds their faces. And it gets worse. The unbelievers wear garments of fire and are lashed with rods of iron, and if they try to escape, they are dragged back and told to taste the torment of the conflagration. So fucking lots of fire, dude. Like, they have to wear fire, they're being enclosed on by a wall of fire, and then beaten with fucking sticks and throwing molten hot brass on them. Like,
the person that drags them back is the Human Torch. The fucking
yeah, that's a lot.
Every 5 seconds you hear flame on, and you're like, God damn it, it's getting so fucking annoying.
Like, enough with the fire. All right, the next one is samsara. We've said this before, but the Eastern religions have a very different notion of the afterlife. Although in some sects of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism, there are heavens and hells that are similar to Western ideas of the same. Hindu hell, however, is traditionally a continuation of life on Earth called samsara. And samsara is the endless cycle of the endless cycle of death and rebirth. Rebirth that is the result of our ignorance of the ultimate reality of the universe. The word means to wander across, as in lifetimes, and samsara is the result of karma, or actions taken in this life that will determine the nature of one's rebirth, and and the caste one is born into. So essentially what this hell is maybe coming back as an asshole. Not like someone who is an asshole, but a literal asshole just spraying shit. Like, that's your whole job. That's so fucked up. Just coming back as an asshole. Like, literally being someone's asshole. That'll be your job if you're an asshole in this life.
Okay. That's a little... That's a little bit extreme, but that's pretty much it. Like, it's more like if you live the life of hate in one area of your life, then, you know, you might have to kind of repent in that way, like in your next life, or you'll come back more hateful, that kind of shit, unless you try actively in that next life to make better choices and be more peaceful. But yeah, the next one is actually also very similar. It's called the Bardo. One of the most detailed and elaborate depictions of this afterlife is from Tibetan Buddhist text Bardo Thodol, or the Tibetan Book of the Dead. As the title suggests, the book deals with dying, or more accurately, the state of the between. And there are many betweens: birth and death, sleeping and waking, waking and trance, and 3 others within the death rebirth between. The Bardo Thodol teaches that after death, the soul exists in the bardo for 49 days and in between that can lead to nirvana or back to rebirth. One of the factors that influences the soul's ultimate location is the dying itself. A good death tends to push the soul towards enlightenment, whereas a bad death can move it towards rebirth into the world. Tibetan Buddhists thus spend a lot of time and energy in helping the dying. So hell in this case is just coming back to Earth. Fucking after this year, that's a good argument in saying that this Earth is like fucking hell. Which honestly, that's kind of similar. Like, I think I've said this before, but with like the enlightenment being heaven, I think we've had this conversation with our sister actually, because what she was saying was she always sees heaven as being a place of understanding, whereas like once you get up there, you kind of just know and that's it. Like you kind of become one with God. How God just says, "I am." It's just simple, but it's very overbearing. And in that term, if you go to heaven, you just understand everything to it. In every single aspect of it, and that's kind of why I understand the Bardo a little bit more. Is that you have these these days that you are kind of within judgment, and that's kind of a ongoing theme with these. Like Minos is the judge, the bridge, the Chinvat bridge, with I forgot her name, the woman or whatever, with the weights, kind of seeing if you're worthy or not. But what's interesting about the Bardo is kind of like if you die like in a car crash, that kind of dictates whether or not you're going to enlightenment or not. But also I do kind of understand that like if you're peaceful, you wouldn't be going out and about or getting yourself in a situation where you would die violently. You know what I mean? So I guess that does kind of make sense. But I don't know. What do you think about the Bardo?
Yeah, kind of sounds a little bit similar to the Samsara thing, but I mean, I know they're kind of closely related, just as far as like the like culture area they come from. But yeah, basically everything you said is it's interesting. A lot of this stuff is super interesting. I'd like to learn more about all of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, that's a lot of the versions that we can find. The only other one I wanted to include, but we wanted to include, but we couldn't, is Hell, the Norse mythology version. Honestly, that's just because there's no fucking good description of Norse mythological hell. It's kind of the same as Hades, where it's just very representative of the goddess that rules over the realm. And but we can go into it a little bit more in our next segment, which is Tipplers Take Two.
Come on. So what's holding everything up here?
Art department.
So the grips are holding us back?
All right, try that take one more time.
1 second.
Okay, quiet on the set.
Tipplers Take Two. Hey, Mark.
Action!
So, Places of Punishment. Fucking such a great another place to bring in some horror movies that we fucking love. Yeah, like I was saying before the segment started, a lot of these are going to go into the visuals and stuff with the video games and such, like, and such. But, of course, we're going to talk about some movies that I think are very appropriated to this episode. First one, which I'm sure Chris saw coming, is As Above, So Below. It's a POV style horror movie that features heavily on like the Philosopher's Stone and what's it called? Alchemy and stuff like that. I thought that horror movie was actually very fucking well written, although it was a POV movie, and the hell sequences were a little bit creepy, but also it kind of showed him like how you kind of bring in like the survival aspect of like if you could get in and out of hell. And by the way, the entrance to hell in this case is in the Paris catacombs. And it's so fucking appropriate because it kind of seems like in this aspect, it seems, especially with like if you know a lot about alchemy, it's kind of like give one, take one in that kind of aspect. I'm trying to think of the saying that they say in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, the equivalent exchange.
Yeah, equivalent exchange. So it took like that many deaths in one area, or the that kind of state to bring about the gates of hell into like our physical realm. But I actually haven't heard a lot of, because I suck this movie's dick so fucking hard. I haven't heard a lot of what Chris thinks of this movie. I think I've mentioned it before, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know we brought it up on one of the other episodes. I don't remember which one, but yeah, I thought it was okay. I only watched it the one time, and I wouldn't say it like left a huge impression on me, but I did think it was pretty good for what it was, for like especially being like I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it was a B movie, but definitely didn't have like a huge budget. And the POV trend on movies has been pretty played out by the point that this movie came out. And I will say that even though it was one of those POV movies, it kept me more interested than a lot of the other ones did. Like, I don't know if you ever saw a movie like The Gallows or...
Yeah, I was exactly about to say that, because we watched that movie together and we were like, wow, that was a hyper piece of shit.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of those movies tried to play off that trend, just simply going off of that trend. Didn't really have any real story going on or anything. And that was the one redeeming aspect of this movie where, you know, even though it wasn't so strong, perhaps visually and like acting wise, but it did have like pretty good writing going on there. Like a lot of, maybe not played out well screenplay wise, but definitely interesting ideals and stuff like that it dealt with. So
yeah. I think like it just has because a lot of the staples with good horror movies. Oh, by the way, I watched Underwater for the first time, and I loved it. It's good. I really did like it. Better acting from Kristen Stewart than I was expecting. And not to shit on her, she's not a bad actress. She honestly just gets bad roles or, you know, kind of flaccid roles. But as far as like that movie goes, that movie does one of the staples that a lot of horror movies should do, which is you fucking get right into it. You don't really have a lot of backstory. The backstory is pretty fucking cut and dry. But with As Above, So Below, it's kind of one of those things where you have to build up to it, kind of like Hereditary, where it gets scarier and scarier and scarier, and by the end you're just like, what the fuck? Like the last scene where she's sorry, spoilers, but the last scene where the son's in the room and you just see the mom in the fucking corner. Holy shit. Like, and it's not even like jump scares, it's just good suspense. And like with As Above, So Below, it happened to hit a mark for me where it had good suspense, and since you know that they're in hell, it's one of those things that it kind of starts bringing up like your imagination of what they might encounter next. But they do kind of go with the Dante's Inferno bit where they're seeing their own sins within hell. Like I think one of them like sees a son that he abandoned or something like that, or another one sees his brother burning in a car, and the car fucking like just disappears and takes him with him and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
So like
I don't remember
it does have
the
good writing and stuff, and it does tip the hat to, you know, Dante's Inferno and all that shit. So the next movie is actually one that was very important to me and Chris's childhood. It made us more wholesome, more of the people that we are today, and that's South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut, motherfucker. It's actually one of those movies that I'd never seen South Park before, and I was pretty fucking young. I was like 6 or 7, and my mom misunderstood that the movie would be uncensored, and she had like accidentally already let like my brother and my sister watch the show, and the show was already, you know, not for kids, but she's like, oh, you know, what's the harm in showing him the movie? And yeah, there was some fucking harm. But of course, South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut is fucking hilarious. And the reason why it lands itself on this list is because the main premise of the movie is Satan is trying to take over the world, and with the help of Saddam Hussein. And it's fucking hilarious. I don't want to go into it right now just because it's super inappropriate for, you know, today's times. But of course, you can go watch it, and it still holds up. It's still fucking hilarious. Chris, what are some of your memories on this movie?
Yeah, like you said, it's funny. Just I still remember that, you know, we were at the like video store, which like most kids nowadays probably won't ever know what I'm talking about. But there used to be stores where you went to them and you would pick out movies. And,
you used to went to this place called Blockbuster and
Blockbuster. But yeah, back in the days when old Blockbuster was still around, you know, Mom took us there, and yeah, like I think me and Faith picked it out. Mom had really no idea what the hell it was. She just let us get it, and then next thing you know, it's fucking singing shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Yeah, your mom's a bitch. She's a big fat bitch. She's the biggest bitch in the whole wide world.
Yeah, the movie's great. It still holds up. Yeah, like obviously, if you know what South Park is, and obviously it's South Park, and I don't know, it's fantastic. Go watch it if you hadn't seen it. If you're a fan of South Park, anyway.
Yeah, it's South Park to the most extreme, like back when, you know, we weren't so PC and they can make way more fucking inappropriate jokes and shit like that. Which, by the way, I'm sorry, but if you shit on South Park, fuck you, because they're always that show is just a commentary on what's going on in this day, but just super exaggerated. That's really it.
Yeah.
That's all the show is.
They don't really pick sides very much either. Like, on like politics or anything like that. They always kind of just make fun of it. They always just do a satire of everything.
Yeah, exactly. So the next one on this list, which I was kind of reluctant to put in, is actually Hellboy. And for Chris's sake, I'm mentioning the original ones with what's his name? I can't remember.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. And the only reason I wanted to put this on this list, of course, it's because of the name, but also it doesn't just talk about hell necessarily, because in Hellboy, hell is more just like, they kind of reference it as the underworld. I think they have a direct name for it as well, but it also references so many different other fucking kinds of paranormal activity and demons and shit like that from all walks of life, which is very appropriate to the episode that we're doing, where I like the fact, or any like anthology or movie that kind of brings in the fact that or not the fact, but like the scenario in which all these pantheons exist at the same time, because it just brings like really cool aspects, like how would these gods interact with each other, and I'm pretty sure that's why Chris smites dick so fucking much. Another one is Jacob's Ladder. It's a fucking old ass movie, but it's kind of crazy. So the premise of it is, after returning home from the Vietnam War, veteran Jacob Singer, which is played by Tim Robbins, struggles to maintain his sanity, plagued by hallucinations and flashbacks. Singer rapidly falls apart as the world and people around him morph and twist into disturbing images. His girlfriend Jessie, played by Elizabeth Pena, and his ex-wife Sarah, played by Patricia Kallenberg, try to help, but to little avail. Even Singer's chiropractor friend Louis, played by Danny Aiello, fails to reach him as he descends into madness. So this is kind of more of like a psychological hell kind of thing. I haven't seen Jacob's Ladder in a fucking really long time, but from what I remember, it was pretty fucking scary. Chris, have you ever seen Jacob's Ladder?
I don't know if I have ever seen it. Like, I know what it's about and everything, but I can't remember if I've seen it. I don't think I have, which is strange because I'm usually the one that's seen like fucking everything. And I know they just made a remake of this movie too. It didn't do very well, but it came out like last year or the year before, something like that.
Well,
so I mean, I would suggest if you're gonna watch one of the Jacob's Ladders to probably watch the old one. And am I mistaken? Is it a Stephen King thing?
No, this screenplay was written by Bruce Joel Rubin. It doesn't have any author mentions in the Google.
I don't know why, but he was coming to mind. Maybe it's just because it has some like Stephen King vibes or something.
No, but it is a name for a popular piercing where you have a bunch of rings going up the shaft of your penis. So, very, very, very next level kind of stuff. But that's for another episode.
Yeah, that's a different one.
The next movie, I think we've mentioned this one before as well, is Event Horizon. It has can't never remember his name, but I fucking love him.
Sam Neill.
I would look up the description, but I remember it pretty well. It's like a space mission, and from what I remember, the ship basically slips across like dimensions into hell temporarily, and then just comes back. And so, the ship is essentially like haunted, kind of, for from like entities of hell. And Sam Neill becomes super fucked up, very similar to like the Mouth of Madness or something like that, because Sam Neill's fucked up in that movie too. But yeah, I haven't seen it for a while, but I remember it being fucking terrifying. Chris, if you want to go into a little bit more depth on the plot, then you can, if you remember.
Yeah, from what I remember, because I haven't seen it in a while either, but I've watched it multiple times. But from what I remember, they get like a distress signal from a spacecraft, and then they're on their current spacecraft. They go to basically do a rescue mission to this one, and basically the whole derelict spacecraft thing. They go in there, there's nobody on board, and then weird shit starts happening. And like you said, it basically turns out that the ship had gone through like a portal to hell, so now they're like basically in their own personal realm of hell, and Sam Neill ends up like turning into some sort of like possessed demon dude, and I don't know. It's a badass movie, dude. If you like sci-fi and you like horror and you like hell shit, like, I mean, if you're like a fan of Dead Space type stuff, like, dude, this movie's for you.
Oh yeah,
it's an older movie, but it holds up. It's still good.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of a sidebar. What other movie am I thinking of? It has what the fuck is his name? Donald something, and god damn it, it's super Donald Sutherland. Yeah, it has him, and he's basically like the Sam Neill of this movie, and he like turns into like a giant fucking cyborg thing, and it's fucking terrifying. Oh god damn it, it's fucking.
Is it Virus from?
I think it is.
That's the one with what's her face, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, the one from
Halloween. Movie? Yeah, is that the same movie?
Let me see.
I think that's the same movie, right? I can't remember. Is Donald Sutherland in that one?
Yeah, it is. Caught in a Typhoon. Caught in a Typhoon, a tugboat commanded by Robert Everton, which is Donald Sutherland. Yeah, it's basically like a sci-fi fucking thing, which has no mention of this episode. It just reminded me of it. So sorry.
No, I do want to say while we're talking about that movie though, super underrated, even though it has some really shitty CGI and stuff in it. But dude, the idea of that movie, I fucking love it. Like, I don't know. Check it out. If you're a fan of like B-movie, like gory B movies, check it out. It's cool. I don't know. I like the concept.
Yeah. So another one, which is another one of the curveballs I wanted to throw in, was actually from Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. If you guys don't know, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned Dragon Ball in previous episodes because I just love that show. Oh, I have? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, fucking, it covers a lot of ground, okay? There's fucking aliens, there's fucking magic, you know what? Fuck you. And there's hell, heaven and hell. So, but the one particular scene I'm thinking of is in Dragon Ball Super, where Frieza's in hell, and so basically, it's a lot like Dante's Inferno and the Chinvat Bridge, or not Chinvat Bridge. I can't remember. Whatever the fuck, particularly goes to like what bothers you personally, because it's not you're getting the sins that you dealt out, you're just getting what pisses you off. So for Frieza, he is in a cocoon, just surrounded by like little like fairies singing all fucking day, and and like there's like a beautiful tree and a beautiful meadow, and just fucking, it kind of reminds me of like the circle of hell where you're in wrath or whatever, and you're just like singing, you're just like, fuck, god damn it, because Frieza can't fucking do anything. So I just thought that particular example is just fucking hilarious. Another one which I would fucking feel so bad if I didn't mention this one is Hellraiser. Hellraiser is a very classic movie, which I'm surprised hasn't gotten a fucking reboot, actually. I'm sure it probably has. But Hellraiser is a 1987 British supernatural horror film written and directed by Clive Barker. It was also based on Barker's novella called The Hellbound Heart. Basically, it's... What the fuck is it? It's like about a puzzle box that like kind of has like a pocket dimension in it almost. That's basically hell, and it brings out like a pinhead. What the fuck's his name? The one that has like his smile or chatterbox or chatter teeth or some shit.
Chatterbox, I think, something like that.
Yeah. But the main one is like pinhead, and yeah, if you interact with this puzzle box, it kind of releases this pocket dimension onto you. It gets really fucked up, and it kind of follows the same trend that like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street followed, where there was probably one too many sequels going into the lore and stuff, when honestly these movies were scarier when you don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. This one should have stopped at one. If it would have stopped at one, this movie would be like 100 times more classic than I think it already is. Like I fucking love Hellraiser. I think it's such a good horror movie. Like I watched it just a few years ago, and like, dude, I was still like, dude, this movie's sick. I fucking love it. Like, I don't know, everything about it. It's got some good body horror, like good scary, creepy moments. So
wait, was I too far off the plot device? It is a puzzle box, right?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I think there's a specific word for it. It might just be the cube. I don't know. But yeah, it's like a cube that if you solve it, you unleash what are called Cenobites. They're basically just demons. Yeah, and their whole goal is to just basically hunt you down and steal your soul. So Yeah, I don't know. It's a kick-ass movie though. If you're a fan of horror and you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go watch it. It's kind of like The Thing for horror movies. You can't not watch it if you're a horror fan.
Yeah, that's true. That fucks me up because I got a fucking puzzle box for my birthday this year. Anyway, so the next one, I would personally fucking shoot myself if I haven't mentioned this, which I've mentioned it before, I'm sure, is Evil Dead. The reason why I wanted to mention this one in particular is because it doesn't really go into... you don't actually go into hell unless you play the video games and stuff like that, which fucking, of course, me and Chris did. But we played those games a lot. But Evil Dead, of course, is played by... not Evil Dead. Main character is fucking what's his name? Ash
Williams, yep.
Ash Williams, yeah. Ashley Williams is played by Bruce Campbell. They fuck with the Necronomicon, or actually, sorry, sidebar. The first movie, there is no Necronomicon. There's a recording of Professor Nobi, who is saying the incantation from the Necronomicon, which unleashes the demons, which is actually a serious fucking movie. The first one is fucking amazing. I love the first one, and I love the reboot. Yeah. And honestly, now that I've come to terms with it, I do like the other ones as well now. But Evil Dead 2 is Sam Raimi's more take on his reboot of that franchise. He took the first one and changed it just a little bit, whereas the first one, it was a recording. The second one, it was the actual Necronomicon, and it's literally just a reboot of the first one. And then the third one is Army of Darkness, where Ash goes back in time. And yeah, it gets really fucked up, but the lore is good, and as far as like the actual lore for like the demons and like all that kind of shit, there is kind of like a hierarchy to demons and stuff that they go into Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is the show that you can watch on Netflix, which I also like, and I know Chris likes that show. Yeah. And if it wasn't for that show, I probably wouldn't have liked the show and the video games. I probably wouldn't have liked the second movie in Army of Darkness. But if you're just in it for the horror, watch the original Evil Dead, which is, I think it's just the Evil Dead.
Yeah,
it's fucking it hasn't aged that well, but it still kind of holds up as far as like scares go. And if you want a more modern take, the fucking reboot is just as good as just titled Evil Dead. Please go check those fucking movies out. That's one of my like top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. So the next one isn't a movie. We're starting to go into games now. We're going into Dante's Inferno, which is a game made by the same creators that made Dead Space. It was Valiant? No. What was it? Visceral Games.
Visceral, yeah.
Visceral Games doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. They made banger games. I'm sorry. Dead Space, Dante's Inferno, a couple others. Fucking just good game after good game. I'm so pissed off that they shut down. But Dante's Inferno changed a little bit of the plot. They made Dante Aligheri into a crusader instead of a poet. And they made Beatrice, which was the symbol of love or whatever, into like his main love interest, and she ends up getting
like wife or whatever.
And he like betrays her. Like basically, in every version of hell, he's committed some form of sin in each circle, so he has to kind of face his own demons to repent. And it's just such a fucking good game. The visuals are great. They do a great job of translating the poem into reality. And by the way, probably a super underrated fucking hack and slash game. On par with God of War and Devil May Cry. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's fucking great. And of course, God of War. Because God of War, I'm sorry, but you go into fucking hell more times than probably any other fucking game series. Or any other movie, as a matter of fact. God of War, you go into Hades like 2 or 3 times. You also go into Hell in the newest game, which is just titled God of War, where it starts going into Norse mythology, and that's Hell, Hel, which is named after the goddess. And I, unfortunately, didn't get to fucking play this one. So, Chris, could you kind of give more detail into how Hell in the Norse version looks in the newest one?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, but just like very cold and dark and like I don't know. I mean, like kind of how we were saying before. Like basically, just picture hell as like a cold, dark place, and that's kind of like what it looks like there. I mean, obviously, I'm not doing the artist's credit because the game itself is awesome. It's fucking beautiful. Like all the artistry and stuff in that game. Like I don't want to downplay it or anything, but just if you can visualize a dark, cold, decrepit place, that's what it's like. And yeah, if you haven't played that game, you gotta play it. It's fucking awesome. Like, I would let you borrow my PlayStation if I wasn't on it every single day just so you could play it.
No, actually the cold aspect of it is kind of cool, just because I think mythologically it's based in Niflheim, which is like the kind of like winter area of like the realms or whatever as far as Norse mythology goes. So I like that they, for creators, it's very hard to try to like make shit as accurate as possible while trying to tell their own story, especially as far as concept art goes. But of course, God of War is fucking well loved. The original series, whereas Greek mythology, and the new series, which is going into Norse mythology, and the fucking teaser just came out for the second one, which I'm excited about. I haven't even fucking played the reboot, or not the reboot, but the sequel. So yeah. And the next one, a little bit disappointing as far as gameplay goes, but the visuals, fucking 10 out of 10. Like, the concept artist probably should have gotten the whole fucking paycheck as far as this game goes. But the next game is called Agony. You are a lost soul who can possess others' bodies. So it's essentially, it's kind of a plot device to make you be able to die and come back again. It's just because you're able to die in hell and repossess another shade, like the hollow shells of these bodies. And then later on you can possess demons and stuff like that. And the entire story kind of centers around like finding a single succubus, I think, to try to help you get out of hell. I'm sure there's more lore to go into, but the fucking gameplay was just so bad. The puzzles, like, and I'm all for putting you in a game and not telling you really what to do, because Bloodborne and Dark Souls kind of does the same thing. It doesn't really tell you anything about the world. It just kind of, you're on your own. But Agony is just fucking unforgiving. So if you're looking for a challenge, you can give Agony a try. Agony does have a lot of people that love the game. I personally, I might have to give it another shot. But yeah, I just think it was very lackluster, and they should have had like a little bit of hints and stuff here and there. But then again, I give a lot of people shit that think that Sekiro should have an easy mode. So
no, and I was gonna say, as far as Agony goes, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because one of its best qualities is also one of its worst, which is the artistic vision of hell. It has probably the most hardcore version of hell you can have in like any sort of media, honestly. Short of
Dante's Inferno, because Dante's Inferno is pretty fucking close, honestly.
Dante's Inferno has some pretty fucked up things, but I mean, this game, and this might be hard for some listeners to hear, but has like, shit happening to infants and just all sorts of really X-rated type stuff. They actually had to go so far as to make a completely separate version of the game to downscale some of that stuff, just so that way you could get like actual releases on all platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, just more elaborating on what I was saying before, like the downside to the game was that there's so much going on with like every single level, like so much graphically going on, that it's like hard to even tell where you're going or what certain shapes and shit is. Like, I mean, if you watch gameplay of this game, it's like, I don't even know how in the base version you knew where you're supposed to go, because it's just so cluttered with visuals.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's a good and a bad thing, because at moments it's like, wow, this is really like a cool but incredibly dark look at hell. And then the next moment you're like, there's so much fucking shit on the ground, I can't see where I'm going. And yeah, like they actually had to tweak this game and put in like a mini map and stuff because people were complaining about that. But yeah, like again, graphically and stuff like that, it's cool. Conceptually, it's cool, but gameplay wise, it's a huge letdown. I mean, the end boss fight, if you can even call it that, is comically bad. It's horrible. It's so bad.
I didn't get past the first level because it was so hard to navigate.
Yeah.
And I actually don't have this on my list, but I just thought of it. Fucking Doom. Doom and Doom Eternal.
I don't know why. Yeah.
Fuck, you go into hell so many fucking times in this goddamn game. And by the way, if you didn't, I don't know. At this point, I don't give a shit. If I mentioned Doom before, fucking suck it. It's a good fucking game. If you if you haven't heard of Doom before, you're welcome. Doom, the plot essentially, from what I can gather from the first two are very old games. The third one was a release on Xbox 360 or the original Xbox, I believe. And basically, the plot was scientists were trying to just create a teleporter, and they accidentally created a portal to hell. But then they noticed that they can also harvest the energy coming from hell. And the original, Doom 3, you're not playing as the main quote-unquote Doom guy. You're actually playing as just like a Marine in the game. And in that one, you're just kind of dealing with the after effects of the teleporter on Mars. So you're dealing with all the demons and shit that invaded the Mars base where they were working on this teleporter, which turned out to be a portal. In the Doom reboot I used loosely because it's technically a continuation as well. It's I think you start on Mars and you are the Doom guy that got resurrected, and your whole fucking purpose is literally just to kill demons. That's it. Like, it's cut, dry, simple. Even the fucking developers, they put good lore into the game, but I do like that they came out and were just like, look, the whole point of this game is to fucking kill demons, because that's all your guy wants to do. And the lore is just kind of for the enthusiasts, I guess. I'm more of a lore kind of person. That's why I go hard on games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro and stuff like that. Just because I love falling into a world, getting immersed. But yeah, in the newest installment, which is Doom Eternal, hell basically finally invaded Earth, and it's up to Doom Guy to try to save the world, essentially. But at the same time, it's kind of odd because he knows that the humans are his allies, but he also doesn't let anybody get in his way of his fucking main mission, which is just to kill demons. He's literally the torturer of the torturers. He's the hunter of the hunters, and that's the main fucking point of Doom Guy, which is why I love that game, and also I love the fact I love characters that are just absolute, and he's one of them. Chris, you have anything to say on Doom, or is that pretty much what you were gonna say?
Nah, yeah, you covered it pretty much. Yeah, nail on the, or hammer on the head, whatever it is. Whatever that saying is.
Screwdriver on the squirrel.
Hammer on the squirrel.
Anyway, guys, if you have any other ones that you want to send in, fucking go ahead and message us at on Facebook or email us at tipplers2centspodcast@gmail.com. That is it for today's Tipplers Take Two.
And cut.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap.
So many ways to get tortured for eternity. Fuck me. Honestly, after this show, me and Sean better pick one. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, we urge you to subscribe or follow us so you can catch a new episode every other Monday on all your favorite platforms. Please be sure to leave a review if possible. Those reviews go a long way in helping us grow the show by catching the eyes and ears of new listeners as well as potential sponsors who can help us fund the show.
And if you would like to interact with us further, you can follow us on our Instagram and Facebook pages as well, or email us at tipplers2centspodcast@gmail.com. On Instagram, it's just Tipplers2Cents, and on Facebook, it's just Tipplers2Cents. So easy to find, easy to remember. If you'd like to support the funding of the show yourself, we have t-shirts available for you on our merch store at represent.com/store/Tipplers2Cents. And the Save Our Children shirt is still, and for fucking forever, will be out. The proceeds of which will go to the Child Rescue Coalition. All other t-shirt purchases help us to get this show going and growing, and also gives you something to show for your support. So if you guys do purchase those shirts, we thank you so very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week, we'll be talking about JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald, and the Grassy Knoll, so be sure to tune in. For now, I'll see you in the 5th circle of hell, where I'll be beating the shit out of someone for ganking me in Smite. And Sean will see you in the 6th circle, burning eternally in a tomb for being a fucking atheist piece of shit. Repent, Sean! Repent, goddamn you! Or maybe we'll just see you in another episode of Tipplers 2 Cents.
Please remember to drink responsibly and think responsibly. Bye!